In the 90s, there were these really scary commercials, presumably put forth by the cable companies, that warned of people who stole cable via a black box. And the commercials said that people who stole cable with a black box were guilty of a crime that was punishable by a moderate jail sentence and a hefty fine. And the commercials included a number to which patrons were encouraged to report having witnessed the described malfeasance. And like in the summer of '97, I'd been watching a lot of Captain Planet, and I developed a really tough stance on environmental crime, which obviously transferred to digital theft. And I would watch these commercials and get fired up. Like, I really hope that a dedicated task force is rounding up these creeps right now. Like, get them off our streets. So one day I was watching this commercial and I was writing down the number, just in case I ever needed to report somebody. And it suddenly occurred to me, like, it hit me like a ton of bricks, that in our living room, we changed the channel through the up and down buttons on a black VCR, a black box. My parents were cable pirates. I was physically ill in that moment because I realized I had a personal responsibility to take a bite out of crime, didn't I? Like, I was wearing a WWJD bracelet. What would Jesus do? Would he report his father for cable theft? Probably. But I had to sit with this information for a minute. Like, I couldn't make a rash decision here because what was going to happen to me and my siblings when our parents went to prison? I was very confident that I was strong enough to head for the hills and tough it out in like a Boxcar Children type scenario for a while, but there was no way my younger siblings were up for the task. And like, if we ended up in a Miss Hannigan's orphanage type deal, I was a redheaded freckly kid who sang too much. Like, I was getting beaten up, no question. And my grandparents were pure evil, so being put into their custody was out of the question. So for the first time in my very young life, it occurred to me that, like, perhaps crime isn't so black and white. And I benefited from this theft, didn't I? Like, I just finished watching Ray J live and in concert on the Disney Channel, and pre-Kardashian, Ray J put on a hell of a show. I couldn't let my parents languish in a jail cell when their only crime had been providing my siblings and I with a little bit of pilfered entertainment. I mean, sure, they made this a house of criminal activity, but it was also a home of criminal activity. And so, with my worldview completely upended, I ripped up the Chinese food takeout menu upon which I had hastily written down the hotline number, and I never watched Captain Planet again. And then, like 2 years later, I found out the hard way that my parents definitely did pay for cable because my dad canceled cable to save money 3 days before the premiere of Xenon Girl of the 21st Century.